Welcome and thank you for joining me today as I review the use of case studies as an instructional strategy. So many of you may be asking, what exactly is a case study? Well, traditionally, a case study is presented as a narrative. It is an in-depth analysis of a single situation or a set of circumstances that provides opportunities for analysis, problem solving, decision making, and justification, calling upon the student's higher order cognitive skills. Case studies are extremely versatile, and because they bring to life real-life challenges or dilemmas, they are particularly effective in classes or disciplines that require translation or application of theory into practice. Case studies can also be presented at various places in the instructional sequence. For example, it could be used at the beginning of your instruction to set the stage for new learning. It can be used to illustrate a set of skills or ideas already taught in class, and it can be used as a really effective way of assessing student learning. Case studies are also conducive to collaborative learning, so student groups can discuss their perspectives and explore various directions for resolving the challenges presented in case studies. There are many steps to developing an effective case study, which demands a high level of preparation by the instructor. Some of these steps are included in the following. So firstly, we really want to identify those learning outcomes for the case study. What are your expectations for student learning? What must students accomplish once they've completed the case study? This will help to clarify where in the instructional sequence a case study can be most effectively used. These learning outcomes should also be clearly articulated to students. Secondly, we want to identify the learner characteristics. So how much do they know about this topic? An awareness of their skills or entry-level knowledge on the topic will help you to decide what details to include and what to leave out, and will ensure that students are adequately challenged, which we know has an impact on motivation. Thirdly, we want to prepare and organize our case study, and so as mentioned earlier, the traditional method of presenting a case study is in narrative style. It tells a story, bringing characters and their actions to life and placing the learners in the role of the decision maker. The case study should provide sufficient, specific, and concise answers to the questions of what, who, when, why, and how, so as to guide students to explore the learning issues and to engage them in finding and solving problems. Next, we want to develop a set of guiding questions. So these questions are important as they will help to guide students in their analysis of the case and will facilitate their problem solving and decision making. Barclay makes some suggestions of examples of guiding questions in her text, Student Engagement Techniques, on page 272. And finally, we want to have an understanding of how students will present their findings. Findings can be presented in writing or orally, or you could facilitate a larger class discussion to highlight the key learning points. This decision will be dependent on the learning outcomes established in number 1 and evaluation methods used in your class. Some advantages of using case studies include the following. Case studies are a forum to engage in active problem-based learning through exploration of real-life challenges in a classroom setting, and this can be particularly relevant in the context of this ever-growing financial and time pressure crunch we as instructors find ourselves under. Secondly, students are exposed to many real-life challenges prior to actually having to face them, and so we're helping students to prepare for their future practice settings. Case studies promote a high degree of transferability of skills and target those higher order cognitive skills. It encourages and promotes collaboration between students and is also conducive to online learning. Case studies also provide a non-confrontational way of exploring gender, cultural, or ethical issues that might arise. Some challenges that instructors face when using case studies is really the time it takes to prepare an effective case study. And these case studies need to be revised regularly to ensure they continue to be relevant and address students' varying learning styles and needs. Alignment challenges can sometimes occur when learning outcomes, case study content, and the outcome of student learnings are not in alignment. And this can create frustration for instructors. Some challenges for students are sometimes in the effort to really provide thorough detail, instructors can actually provide too much detail, which can result in confusion for students and create frustration and perhaps decreased motivation. Thanks to media and technology, case studies are being used in many creative ways in classrooms. Some examples include using films or YouTube videos to present challenging scenarios. Role plays can be used to present the case study. Interviews where students are only given parts of the case study and are required to elicit the needed information in order to conduct their analysis and recommendations is a useful way. Case studies can also be used to facilitate research type activities, so students would need to gather additional information prior to providing their recommendations. And finally, perhaps case studies could be incorporated as a dynamic entity into the curriculum, meaning the students may analyze and make recommendations on a course of action based on their knowledge of the topic and the content presented in the case study, and then the instructor may decide to change one variable of the case study to highlight new key pieces of learning. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with using case studies to enhance your teaching and learning.